Hello everyone, and today I will be taking a look at Drag Race competitors who deserved more challenge wins. The first competitor who deserved more challenge wins from All-Stars 4 is Naomi Smalls. Before I get into what wins she deserved and why, look what she did with the one win she got. Naomi's win here and strategic decision might be one of the biggest Drag Race butterfly effects ever, as not only did it permanently alter the course of All-Stars 4, it had massive repercussions on All-Stars 5, 6, 7, 8, as well as every Versus the World season. I know a lot of people have talked about it before me, but it really cannot be overstated how big of a decision this was. While I don't believe she would have had the opportunity to do anything that iconic with some of the other wins she deserved, she absolutely did deserve more wins. The first win Naomi realistically could have gotten was the win for the Episode 2 Girl Groups Challenge. She was third best overall, and while I personally would not give her a win, she gave us an all-around flawless performance in terms of look, verse writing, really just everything. Naomi brought the full package to this episode, and while she didn't get the win on any other season, she very much could have. The next win here, and probably the strongest case of the three, is Naomi winning Snatch Game. Episode 3 is Snatch Game, and for this season, we are splitting the queens into a Snatch Game of love. That means that regardless of how well people do, getting a win is very much determined by what group you are in. That is very bad news for Naomi. Naomi had one of the greatest challenge glow-ups we have ever seen. Her Season 8 Snatch Game was awful, while Wendy Williams was all around great. The only issue here is that Naomi was in a group with Trinity, the only competitor who did better than her. Should that have stopped her from getting a win? No. Did she deserve the win over Manila, whose performance did not age well at all? Yes. The final challenge win Naomi realistically could have and should have gotten is the Episode 4 Improv Challenge. This was just an all-around solid performance for Naomi. On Season 8, Naomi was good at best on the comedy challenges. On All-Stars 4, she was able to keep pace with queens like Monet, Manila, and Trinity, which is a massive accomplishment. While her runway this episode was on the weaker side, I'm not sure that's enough to stop her from getting the win. In the end, it only totals out to like 1 to 2 challenges, but based off Naomi's lip sync skills, that could total out to like $20,000 extra dollars. The next queen who deserves more challenge wins is Isis Couture. This is a very interesting case, as this time production is not trying to downplay how well someone was doing. UK versus the World was a complete disaster. Due to how willing this cast was to get rid of frontrunners, we saw Jimbo, Pangina, and Janie go out back-to-back, and an all-around exciting but bad season. That is something that Canadian production very much wanted to avoid, and it showed in their judging. Episode 1 is girl groups, and Isis nails it on the nose. Not only does she deliver an all-around powerhouse verse, runway, and performance, she hard carries her team of Kendall and Stephanie. Isis should be at bare minimum high, if not top 2. Unfortunately, production has other plans and announces a top 2 of Rita and Vanity, with Isis not even receiving positive critiques. I believe that production's anxiety is the sole reason behind this. After watching every frontrunner get chopped back-to-back on UK versus the World, production would very much want to downplay Isis's threat level. With that in mind, giving the win to someone like Rita lowers Isis's threat level while keeping Canadian queens in contention for the crown. Episode 2 is Snatch Game. Isis does objectively the best and gets her one and only win of the season. Episode 3 is The Ball, and the final challenge win Isis should have gotten. Isis knocked this challenge out of the park. This look is the embodiment of uniqueness. Not only is it an exceptional sewing job, it is way outside of the box for anything we've seen from Isis. Isis is a flawless seamstress and had gone undefeated in design challenges up until this point. This would have been a great moment to give her the win. Once again though, I think production was just scared and trying to balance out the win distribution. I firmly believe that if Isis had been judged fairly all season and then quit in episode 4, she would be walking away with a literal unbeatable track record of 5. The only way to even tie her would be to win every single challenge for your entire season, and I really don't think anyone's gonna pull that off. A more recent example of this from Season 16 is Nymphia Wind. This may be recency bias, but I really don't think so. While I'm not going to claim this one was production rigging anything against her, the first challenge Nymphia should have won was the talent show. This is kind of a no-brainer, literally everyone has openly admitted it. Nymphia did a great job and was deserving of top 2. Plain Jane just rigged the Rey Queen twist against her. While it was an incredibly smart move and it made the episode much more entertaining, Nymphia did still deserve that win. The next challenge win Nymphia realistically could have and should have gotten is the Goth Design Challenge. Nymphia and Q go in completely different directions. Nymphia goes 100% in the definition of classic goth. It is very recognizable but also very difficult to execute well. On the other hand, Q goes fully in the direction of neo-goth. It is equally difficult to execute, but she does do a great job. With that in mind, this is a complete coin flip, and while production ends up going with Q, this challenge, in my opinion, should have been a double win. Both queens showed off an insane amount of technical skill, and both deserved a challenge win, even if production had to split the cash prize 2 ways. The final challenge Nymphia realistically could have and should have won is the makeover. I will not say that this one is 100% rigged against Nymphia. It is a matter of how you weigh the different parts of a makeover. If we are judging based off runway quality, it is Nymphia. If we are judging based off the transformation, it is Q. If we are judging based off the actual dance they had to do, it is Plain Jane. Any one of these categories could be weighed differently by any person, but the way I would do it, Nymphia would probably get the win, and while I don't want to say Nymphia deserved 6 wins, if Nymphia had gotten 6 wins, it would not have been unfair. Next up, from All Stars 3, we have Aja. This is a queen that production cast for the drama with literally no idea how well she would do. Episode 1 is a talent show and Aja absolutely steamrolls, and to give production credit, they do give her the win here. While she fairly loses the lip sync, production is starting to realize, oh god, Aja is a legitimate contender for this crown. We have to downplay how well she is doing by any means necessary. Episode 2 is the Rusical, and Aja is given the role of Amy Winehouse. It is not written with any jokes in mind, but it is not one of the roles that is literally destined to be in the bottom. Aja absolutely kills it in the challenge and does a great job on the redemption runway. She should be in the top, maybe even the top 2. There are 2 main things that screw Aja over here. Number 1, Eevee, Shangela, and Dela were all given roles that were destined to be in the top 3. Issue number 2 is that production just does not like Aja. After she steamrolled the talent show, they are not gonna let her have any momentum. As a result of this, I don't think they would let Aja place in the top multiple times in a row. Moving on to Snatch Game, this is the main challenge that Aja deserved to win. Ben de la Creme knocked it out of the park. It was one of the strongest impersonations we have ever seen and an all-around great job. As this was not a particularly strong Snatch Game, the second slot in the top 2 is a competition between Aja and Shangela. Aja gives us a scary accurate impersonation of Crystal Abeja as well as some very good jokes, while Shangela gives a funny performance where the impersonation is not a priority in any way. With that in mind, as well as the Flower Power runways, Aja and Dela should be the top 2. Unfortunately, production loved Shangela and hated Aja. Shangela gets the win while Aja is high. Once again, this is another situation of production just does not want this person to gain momentum. I don't want to sound like a pessimist, but honestly, the second she won that talent show, it was over. Production was never going to give her credit no matter how well she did. The next competitor who deserved more challenge wins from Season 11 is Eevee Oddly. On Season 11, Drag Race production makes some very interesting decisions. They decide that Brooke needs to be the obvious frontrunner going into the finale, despite being completely open and willing to having Eevee Oddly take home the season. In Eevee's case, this is very simple. There are 4 challenges she realistically deserves to win. The first is the Episode 2 acting challenge where she got her first and only win of the season. The second challenge she should have won is the Rusical. She did an all-around great performance, was very funny, and had some of the most unique characterization of the night. The third challenge Eevee realistically should have won is the Farm to Runway Design Challenge. It was a very unique silhouette, a very good use of the colors, and storyline-wise, it would have been a great moment to get her the win, as she just had a massive fight with Silky and Untucked. The final challenge she deserved to win was the remix. This one, unironically, might have been more deserved than the challenge she did win. It was a great showing. She mopped the floor with everyone else on the cast, and gave us one of the all-around greatest remix verses in years. In my opinion, going into the finale, the win distribution should have been Eevee at 4, Brooke at 3, Akira at 2, and Silky at 1. Instead, to try and make an underdog edit for Eevee, they decide that she needs to have the least challenge wins of any of the finalists. The sixth and final competitor who deserved more challenge wins from season 15 was Mistress Isabelle Brooks. If you ask almost any Drag Race fan what they remember about Mistress, it would be her villainy. And while that is completely fair and valid, there were a lot of other sides to Mistress, especially she was a powerhouse competitor. Despite how well Mistress was actually doing in the competition, production did not treat her like a good competitor. Across the 14 episodes she participated in, Mistress got 1 win in the acting challenge, but if you ask me, she deserved a few more. The first extra challenge win she deserved was in girl groups. If this challenge was being judged individually, I would give the win to Sasha. That said, it was a very collaborative challenge, and with that in mind, I believe this should have been judged in teams, with the country queens getting the win. That would bump Mistress's win count up to 2. The second extra win Mistress should have gotten is the ball. In the Crystal Ball, there was a very clear top 4. Lux, Sasha, Mistress, and Anitra were all absolutely incredible, and while Sasha got the win in the end, I would give it to Mistress. She gave an incredibly cohesive runway package, but none of the looks were alike, and her final look was just all around very well executed. There is not a single mistake in the entire dress. It involves crystals, it is sparkly. Mistress 100% hit the target of this challenge, and it was a great showing, and I believe she should have won. The final challenge I feel Mistress could have won was the Rusical. In my opinion, Anitra was the clear best with Mistress right behind her. That said, this episode should have had a top 2. In that scenario, I believe Mistress could very easily win a lip sync against Anitra to running up that hill. In this scenario, Mistress is going into the finale with 4 wins, Sasha has 3, Anitra has 2, and Lux has 3. Hey, it's Drag Race Rejudged. Do you want gay shit? Well then check out the RuPaul's Drag Race Rejudged YouTube channel and hit subscribe.